Hi, Josh Barker with Josh Barker Real Estate, and thank you for checking out our market update for the month of February 2022. Like we like to do each month, let's go ahead and kick off the sales report for the Shasta County Multiple Listing Service. This first report is our sold report. I'm going to circle this for you in red. There were 213 properties that closed escrow last month in the month of January. If you go back 1 year ago, there were 226 properties that closed in the month of January a year ago. And so our sales volume has decreased by approximately 6% year over year. Now this deceleration in home purchasing has actually been anticipated. Last year, in the height of that pandemic, we had a lot of purchasers that were moving in from out of the area that because of their work from home opportunity or purchasing a second home, were adding to our local buyer demand. Now that those types of transactions are beginning to decline and slow down, we're beginning to see our sold reports begin to transition back to a more normal, balanced market. The next report I'm going to put over the top of that is our active inventory report. This will actually share with you how many homes are actually for sale at any given moment. So at the very end of January, we had 499 properties for sale. Now, if you go back 1 year ago, there were 521 properties for sale in January of last year. So that inventory is still down about 4% year over year. But here's what's interesting. If you look at the month of March of last year, our inventory was sitting at approximately 466 homes for sale in March of last year. So the fact that we're starting at almost 500 homes in January of 2022 is a good sign that we'll likely see, if the trend continues, more home inventory this year on average than last year, which is obviously welcome news for many people out there in the market. The next thing to look at is actual mortgage interest rates. If there's been any significant change since our last market update, it has been around the mortgage interest rates. Rates are currently averaging approximately 3.9%, and this is in the beginning of February. If you go back about 45 days ago, the interest rate was averaging right around 3.25% to 3.375%. So our rates have moved up over 0.5% in that period of time. If you want to add to that the Federal Reserve is announcing that they plan to increase the interest rate going into the month of March, we can see that we're going to be dealing with a higher interest rate environment in the coming months. So this is something that all of us are going to have to watch closely. The next thing to look at is the mortgage forbearance. On some of our previous videos, we were talking a little bit about how many people were actually behind on their mortgage and were in a forbearance program. Well, we have some really good news on that. Right now, the experts are predicting that about 4 out of every 5 property owners that were in a forbearance program have now successfully transitioned out of the program. So either they sold their home and took some of that equity that was in the property, or they refinanced their home, or they were able to bring their existing mortgage current. All good news for us. That means that we're likely not going to see this big, huge amount of foreclosures coming to the market. Now, experts are projecting we're going to see our foreclosures increase slightly, as 1 out of every 5 in forbearance still has not been worked out yet. So we might see a slight uptick in the foreclosures, but long-term projections are really strong that we're not going to see a huge foreclosure market. Next thing to look at is just our home price expectations. A lot of our viewers have questions about home pricing, and it's really a valid question to ask. Right now we have massive inflation in the market, you have interest rates that are moving up, and you also have a supply chain disruption, and all of this is really creating these conversations around what's going to happen with the real estate market in the future. Most likely, what we're going to be having to keep our eye on is home inventory. Home inventory, the amount of active listings for sale relative to demand, will likely tell us what we need to know going forward. So for example, if that pent-up seller demand continues to come to the market and our inventory grows, and at the same time interest rates go up, having an impact on purchasing power, we could begin to see us transitioning away from a high rate of appreciation and start to see that rate of appreciation decelerating down to a more meaningful level. For example, over the last 12 months, according to Zillow, Redding's market went up an average of 18%. If you look at all the major home price expectation surveys for this year, they're projecting around 5.2 to 5.5%. So you can see right now that the rate of appreciation in our local market is beginning to slow down, and assuming these trends hold true, we're probably not going to see a really high, robust appreciation this year, more of a slow, steady growth. Wait to see. So in any case, if you have any questions at all regarding the real estate market here in Shasta County, just know we're always here to help. I want to thank you again for taking your time with us today. Make it a great day.